Welcome back to the channel, Guardians. I'm going to talk about the Pinnacle Cap. They did add on 10 points to the power level for episode Revenant. So if you reach the Pinnacle Cap for episode Echoes, you're going to have to add 10 points on top of that to get to the Pinnacle Cap. So last episode, the Pinnacle Cap was 2,000. For this episode Revenant, we have to get our base power level to 2010. So we're going to go from 2000 to 2010. Now, in order to get to 2010, in terms of your base power level, not including your plus bonus, like I've got a +7 bonus for my power, but my actual gear, the base power level is 2000, which is basically, you guys probably already know this, but it's just an average of all of your gear. So I've got 2001, most of the rest of these are 2000s, so all of that averages together as my base power level of 2000. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get 3 weapons at each slot. That's at 2010. And then I'm going to have to get all of my gear pieces to 2010, right? So the highest one I have right now is 2002. So I'm still 8 points short there. Now, you have to play specific activities in order to get pinnacle drops. You just can't jump into a few Crucible matches and expect to get a pinnacle drop. And a lot of times, like if you're just an open world gameplay, like let's say that you're on the moon and you're running around in like a lost sector or something like that, like if you go to K1 Revelation and then you end up getting a drop, just an Ingram drops on the ground, that's not going to be a pinnacle drop. Right? So you just can't jump into anything that you want to and get pinnacle drops that's going to help you. Once you reach the base power level of 2000, you have to go to specific activities in order to get higher than 2000. So we call those last 10 points your pinnacle, the pinnacle drops. So where would you go first? I would say every episode, certain sources for pinnacle drops are going to be the same, so that's what I want to touch on first. So I would definitely go to the menu, and for me, I would say Vanguard. I would go to Nightfalls. If you hold down the L2 button, you'll see the little sub menu pop up, and you'll see weekly earned points by completing Nightfalls. So you get 200,000 points, and there's a pinnacle gear drop over here. Right now, the one below that is you complete 3 Nightfalls, you get a powerful gear drop, which is an exotic, but you'll notice that it's not a pinnacle drop. It's exotic, but it's tier 1. Anything that's tier 1, I believe the best you can get out of it is wherever you're at exactly. So I'm at 2000 base level. It's going to give me a 2000 power level gear drop, whether it's a weapon or a piece of armor. It's going to be at 2000, maybe 2001 at best. But yeah, it's the tier 1s aren't really going to do anything for you at all in terms of getting to the pinnacle cap, getting those last 10 points. So again, I would run 2 Nightfalls, maybe 3 if the Nightfall is shorter for that particular week. But the Nightfall is going to be the same strike over and over and over again. So if it's a shorter strike, you're going to have to run 3. If it's a long strike or if it's a battleground, maybe you can make it into 1 run, but it's probably going to be 2 runs, and then you're going to get a pinnacle gear drop. Where this drop is going to be, It's random, which is a headache, but it can be anywhere. You can get one of these 3 weapons. It can drop in any of these slots here for your armor. You just have to make sure that all of your weapons, all of your armor, you have to have a 2010 there in order to reach your pinnacle cap. And then your bonus points is from the artifact down here. As long as you keep earning XP, your power bonus is going to go up. So there's really no thought to that. You just keep playing the game, and your artifact is going to, continue to go up, increasing with your power bonus points. But I will say that on my ghost, I have blinding light on it, which it increases the XP gains by 12%. So on all of your characters, I would basically say go to your ghost and equip blinding light for your 12%. Now they have lower tiers in terms of light. Like this is 5% XP bonus, 8%, 10%, but I just go with the most that I can get at 12%. And that's 6 energy, right? And then I've also got that combined with the wombo detector. So there's that. So all my ghosts on all my characters, I have that to help me with the XP gains. The more XP you can get, the more it's going to help you with your power bonus. But your power bonus doesn't affect where your base light level is, right? Your base light level is not going to move, or your base power level is not going to move until you start getting pinnacle drops. Once you reach 2000, you definitely got to go for the pinnacle gear drops. So yeah, like I said, Nightfall is the first place that I go. No matter what season or episode we're in, this is really a consistent place that you can go to get pinnacle gear drops. Now there's 8 places that I found in all, and I'm not going to cover raids. I'm not going to cover the dungeons because, especially as solo players, like I'm a solo player mostly, that's just a lot of time, and I don't have a lot of time to play the game. So I'm looking for something that's the quickest way, the easiest way that I can get a pinnacle gear drop. So yeah, I start with the Nightfalls, and then the next thing that I would do is I would go to Pathfinder. And Bungie did change this a little bit, right? So you complete the objectives, right, by connecting the dots, right? But this particular episode, which is different from last episode, to get to the pinnacle gear drop from here, is that they split up the core activities of the game. So now we have Vanguard, which is strikes and nightfalls by itself. We have Gambit by itself, and you've got Crucible or PvP by itself. So if you're a PvP player and you don't want to play strikes, you don't want to play Gambit, all you have to do is come to the PvP Pathfinder and complete the different objectives, right? And then, yeah, just make sure you connect all the nodes here, which will lead you to the pinnacle gear drop. And that's it. If you want to just run a whole bunch of Gambit, same thing. But last episode, in episode Echoes, they had the strikes, Gambit, and Crucible PvP objectives all mixed into the same Pathfinder. But this episode, in episode Revenant, where we are now, they split them up, like I said. So if you just want to run a bunch of strikes and you don't want to play Gambit or PvP Crucible, then you can do that. So I think that's really helpful for for both PvE and PvP players. But yeah, this is another pinnacle gear source that shouldn't change throughout the year. Like, it should always be here no matter what season that we're in. So yeah, I would go from here, and then in the process I would try to complete some of the objectives in the Pathfinder so I can get these two to drop basically at the same time. So that'll be 2 Pinnacle gear drops right there. All right, so what's the third place? Because I've got 8 total. And again, we're not going over exotic missions or dungeons or raids. The next spot that I would go to, and this is also pretty easy, is I would come to the tower and I would go to, I would focus on Hawthorne. Now, Hawthorne doesn't have a Pinnacle gear drop, right? But she does have a tier 2 powerful gear drop, which is also very good, very useful for reaching the Pinnacle cap, getting those extra 10 points. So all you have to do with Hawthorne is, like, let's say that you're playing a Nightfall. Once you finish the Nightfall, you've got your 2 teammates. You give them the commendations. You give 2 commendations. That's going to go towards this objective here. You have to give 5 commendations total, and then you can go to Hawthorne. She'll give you a powerful gear tier 2 drop, and that is going to be higher than what you can get from Banshee, which he has a tier 1 powerful gear drop. That's not going to help. So it's got to be tier 2 or higher. There's a tier 3 roaming around here somewhere too, and I'll show you guys that one. But yeah, definitely, as you're playing Nightfall, you playing Strikes, you're racking up the points to get the Pinnacle drop from that. You also at the end give the commendations, and once you get to 5, all you have to do is give commendations. That's it. And then you come to Hawthorne in the tower, and she'll give you the drop. And again, this is the same every season, every episode. This is what she's been giving. She's been giving us as a drop for years, I believe, at least well over a year. So it's going to be here consistently, no matter what episode we're in. So that's number 3. Now we're gonna switch to something that's more relevant for this year. The Pale Heart. Now, this one I stumbled on, and what you'll notice here too is that there's a little gold icon right there. That'll let you know that that's letting you know that there's a Pinnacle drop there. So you hold L2, the sub-menu comes out, and it'll let you know that there's a Pinnacle deep sight weapon with this. So now here's the thing. For one, I have to complete the side mission, the side quest Convalescence Budding, in order to unlock this mission. So that's one. I have to do that first. The other thing is the activity power cap on this one is pretty high. Usually it's around 1960 for the activity power cap. This is at 2015, which is pretty high. That's like 5 points above the Pinnacle power cap for your base power level. So it's going to be a more difficult mission to run, which probably means that you can't run it solo. You're going to need a team, but there is a Pinnacle drop here. Now, the other thing you have to pay attention to is this is a Pinnacle deep sight weapon. If you're missing an armor piece, then you're not going to get it from here. You're just going to get weapons from here. Deep sight weapons, so that helps. But if you're missing a piece of armor that should be at 2010, it's not going to drop from here the way it's looking. So, but it's an option as far as getting a Pinnacle to drop. All right, so that's the one. There's 2 more in here that are available. The other one is all the way over here. There's the gold icon again. L2, hold L2 down, and you'll see Pinnacle gear from, this is just a mission, Excision. Now, this mission is kind of long, but it's also exciting because it's the final mission of the story campaign from the Final Shape. Everybody loved this mission. It is pretty long though, but definitely worth running, because you only have to run it one time and you get the Pinnacle gear drop. And again, where this piece of gear is going to drop, who knows? I don't know. No one ever knows, but hopefully it drops where you need it, right? And so yeah, there's that one. And if you look at the, let's see, it doesn't say what the power cap, the activity power cap is for this. It doesn't say what the power level is. It's weird. All right. But yeah, that's there. And then the last one, again, there's a little gold icon, gold coin icon right there. So this one is Pathfinder. Full disclosure, I have never run this before, but you get a powerful gear tier 3 drop, which is a higher tier than what Hawthorne gives you at the tower. She gives you a tier 2. You get a tier 3 drop from here. So I think that tier 3 is, of course, is above tier 2, but I think it's maybe a step below the Pinnacle gear drop. I'm not sure, because I've rarely seen a tier 3 powerful gear drop. So it should be pretty darn close to a Pinnacle drop from here. The only thing is with this one, okay, you do only have to run it one time, but I don't know how long this mission is. If it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, if it's closer to an exotic mission, I'm not sure. But the powerful gear drop will help you get, the tier 3 powerful gear drop will help you get to the Pinnacle cap, which is 2010. So there's that. All right, so we've got 2 more stops left. So that was there in the Pale Heart. The final 2 places that you can go to get a Pinnacle drop, that's not a raid, it's not a dungeon, it's not an exotic mission, is you can go to Failsafe. She's in what's left of the helm. The helm is just pretty much gone. The piece that's left over from the helm, she's there still from the previous episode. She does have a tier 2 drop, right? So same as Hawthorne, tier 2. It's not going to be as good as the Pinnacle drop. It's not going to be as good as the tier 3 powerful gear drop, but the tier 2 is going to help get you closer to that 2010 Pinnacle cap. So there's that. You're going to have to run old activities, which is activities from last episode Echoes. So I would probably run, because you have to earn reputation with Failsafe in order to get this drop. So in order to earn reputation, you have to run seasonal activities, bounties, probably side quests, things like that. So anything that's from last season, last episode, that's what you run. And you'll notice the icon here. Anything with this icon is from last season. But again, you want to do something that's quick, something that you can do solo, something that has matchmaking, right? So yeah, this activity power cap is 1955, which is low, right? So this will be pretty easy to go through. So this arena breach executable, and then you've also got battleground echoes. Again, it's matchmaking. You're on a team of 3. It'll be 3 of you. Activity power caps 1955. So I would say battleground echoes, and arena breach executable is the way to go in order to, quickly get reputation for Failsafe. Also, you can go to Failsafe, pick up the bounties that she has, and then go ahead and jump into these 2 and run those. Now, there is no guarantee like tier 1 drops or anything for these anymore, because these are from last season. So there's none of that, right? But yeah, that's very helpful. Now, how many of them do you have to run? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what I am going to do for this one is my Titan and my Hunter have not run last season's story campaign. So I'm going to go through running the story campaign with those, my alternate characters. And then that's going to help me get the tier 2 drop with them. Now, I believe that you can do this on all 3 characters, right? Which is what I forgot to mention before. You can run all of this with if you have time, right? If you got the extra time and you got 2-3 characters in the game, go through the whole list with them as far as where the pinnacle drops are, the tier 2 and tier 3 drops are. Run it on all 3 characters each week, as much as you have time to. And then that's going to help you progress faster, because now Bungie finally changed it so that your power level is shared across all 3 characters. In the past, I would say last year, 2023, the power level was not shared between all 3 of your characters. So you would get your weapons up as high as you could on one character. You give these weapons to the other 2 characters, and that'll help them get their armor, the power level on their armor up, faster. But now, since 2024, or since the final shape released, the power level shared. So even if you just run one character the entire time, your other 1 or 2 characters are not going to be lagging behind that much. You're still going to have to get gear to drop for them, but it's not going to be like 20 points below where your main character is, right? So I'm glad Bungie finally changed that. It was a change that should have been in place, 7-8 years ago, if not longer than that. But they finally did that this year, so I'm happy about that. But anyway, so Last City, Failsafe, that's the other one we went to. All right, so tier 2 drop's gonna help. Now the last places you can go, and if you just want to focus on this season, you would go to Onslaught playlist. There's a pinnacle drop from here. Now this is time consuming because you have to complete 50 waves. So far it's taken me about, depending on the team, 10 to 12 minutes per run. So you have to do that 5 times, right? You can also run Onslaught Salvation, which it'll let you run 50 waves straight, right? If you want to. The problem with this one is, look at the activity power cap. It's at 2030, which means that you should already be at the pinnacle cap before you run this, ideally, right? But you can still do it, because if you have like a really solid fire team, and you can, because the enemies are going to be 25 points higher as far as their power cap, they're going to be 25 points higher than you, so they're going to be much more difficult to kill. But if you have a really solid team, really solid builds, go for it. With this one, you're gonna, once you get to 10 waves, the activity is gonna end, and you gotta reload, run another 10, reload, run another 10, reload, run another 10. With this one, if you have like I said, a really good team, you can just run it through all 50 waves, just run straight through it and get as far as you can get. Whether that's 20 waves, 30 waves, just keep going and get as close to 50 as you can get to, and just do it over again. But for me, I'm just running this 5 times. And ideally, I would do maybe 1 or 2 runs throughout, every day throughout the week, so that I'm not just running it 5 times in a row in one sitting. I try to spread it out throughout the week, so it's not so monotonous. This is quicker to run, it's less rewarding, but they're both gonna drop a pinnacle, and you're gonna earn the tonic materials for idle. But this one, as far as materials, this is going to be better as far as material drops. This one, not so much, because you're only running 10 waves and then the activity is over. This one, the farther you get along, you get to wave 10, wave 20, wave 30, the materials that's dropping is better, and better, right? But again, the problem is that power cap is so high that for me, I don't think I would get that far. So I might as well just run 10 at a time. But yeah, that's all I've got. Obviously, there are other little, gold icons here. So that lets you know that there's, like, this is the Deep Stone Crypt. That's a raid. This is Vesper's Host. That's a dungeon, but they have the Pinnacle gear drops. But yeah, so anywhere that you see these gold icons over here, it's usually a Pinnacle drop is there. So if you look at a location like Europa and you see the little gold icon, you know that there's a Pinnacle drop in there somewhere. So you just gotta look over the map and see where it is, right? And at the end of that activity, just run it one time. But like I said, the raids, the dungeons, they take a lot longer to complete, like a lot longer. So I don't have a lot of time during the week to play the game. So I'm trying to get, I'm trying to focus on options that are quick, that don't take me that long to complete. This one is not a pinnacle, it's a deep sight weapon. But the other thing is you have to score 250,000 points, which is that's a stretch for sure. If your team is not focused on racking up 250,000 points, you're not gonna, the activity is gonna end before you get to 250k. So that's the difficult part with that one. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and just give a quick summary of the 8 locations that I've gone over. Nightfall, there's a Pinnacle gear drop there. Pathfinder, there's a Pinnacle drop there, and it can be for Vanguard, Gambit, or Crucible. Doesn't matter, it's a Pinnacle drop. And then you would go Tower. Here's Hawthorne. You give your 5 commendations. There's a Powerful Gear Tier 2 drop, which is helpful for reaching the Pinnacle cap. From there, you would go to the Pale Heart, and obviously you don't have to do these in any kind of order, but this is one that's feasible, especially if you've completed the side quest for this. You can jump into this one, and then there's a Pinnacle deep sight weapon. There is Excision. There's a Pinnacle drop there. And then the last one in the Pale Heart is all the way over here. This is a Powerful Gear Tier 3 drop, which is also helpful, right? And then the last place where we just came from, there's a Tier 2 Powerful Gear drop from Failsafe. And then, of course, if you're doing something for this season, there's Onslaught Playlist or Onslaught salvation, whichever you want to run, right? Or try both of them and see which one you like better. And that's all I've got. And again, that's leaving out the dungeons, the raids, the exotic missions, leaving all those out, and just having 8 locations where the activities are pretty quick, pretty straightforward to run, right? But again, I would say run it on all 3 characters, right? For each character. The only one you wouldn't be able to run on 3 characters is the Pathfinder, right? I believe the Pathfinder is going to be the same for all 3 characters. You're not going to be able to complete the Pathfinder like when you go to the Vanguard or one of the core activity menus. You will not be able to do this again. Like this is gonna be the same account wide, as far as I can tell. So once you complete this on one character, you can reset it, of course. I think it's like 10,000 glimmer to reset it, but I think your progress is going to be copied over all 3 characters. So if you come here and you complete maybe 3 or 4 nodes, you jump on another character, I think your path is going to be saved. And you'll just continue wherever you left off from the previous character. And I actually should double check that this weekend, but that's what I think is going to happen, is that it's going to be saved. Because what I did is I was on my Warlock and I selected this first node, and then when I jumped on my Titan and my Hunter, this node was already selected across all 3 activities that I selected on Warlock. I jumped on Titan and Hunter and this was already selected, so I'm assuming that this progress here is connected across all 3 characters. But yeah, that's all I have. And again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave questions in the comments section. And yeah, that's all I have. So for me, Warlock is my main character. And then I alternate between Titan and Hunter. And again, your power level is connected across all 3, but if I get all of Warlock's armor to 2010 and get all the weapons to 2010, Titan and Hunter are not going to have 2010 armor pieces. They're going to have to get their own. But the weapons that Warlock gets to 2010, I'm going to give those to Titan and to Hunter as I play those characters, right? But I think on the Pinnacle side of it, I don't even think that's going to help. Right? It's not going to help them boost their armor any faster because the power cap is shared across all 3 characters now. So yeah, if you are at 1990 and you're trying to get to 2000 as far as your power cap, then it'll help to give your weapons to Titan and Hunter. But once you get to 2000 and you got to get to the Pinnacle cap, yeah, you just got to get as many Pinnacle drops as possible. But yeah, that's all I have, and I hope this helps. Everyone, take care.